This session, we're going to discuss disclaimers and how you set them up. A disclaimer is something that you want to enter onto a work order that will be also printed on an invoice for a customer. Now, the system has actually two different ways to do a disclaimer. If I come over to my home ribbon and go to Setup, and I go look at my print documents, we're going to pull up print documents here. Oops, probably don't know if I can spell it right. And I go to my documents, you have the capability of adding a disclaimer here. So if I go into, say, an invoice here, and I do a little edit, you'll notice down on the left panel, you have a spot for a disclaimer. Okay. So a disclaimer is actually going to go between the grand total on the work order and the comment at the very bottom of the work order or the invoice. Okay. That's where it actually gets placed. So if I go enter a disclaimer here, that means every single time I ever print an invoice, it will always be on the invoice. Always be on the invoice. Okay. Now you cannot change it in the work order. Okay. If I want to make something special just for one of them, can't do that. Okay. So this is something that's going to be constant. So what happens is a lot of people like to be able to drop on a disclaimer depending on the situation. So if I get out of print documents here, in the work order setup section, you're going to see at the very bottom here, a section called disclaimers. So you have the capability of actually creating any disclaimer you want. These are just some that I have in my system already. This was just a warranty disclaimer that I added, but if you want to add anything, you just come up here and hit add, call it what you want. You might want to make one that says, hey, this vehicle is unsafe to drive. And then you can type in, whatever you want down here. That's just the title of it, is all it is, okay? And then here would be the actual disclaimer. Type in whatever comments and stuff you want. Or when I go to add this to the work order, I can type in whatever I want at that specific time. And you just hit OK, and then you have a disclaimer. So you can have as many different disclaimers as you want. I might have a notice here. I got a warranty. I got one for AAA customers, things like that. You just save them. Okay. You can even click and drag and change the order of them if you want. So whatever you want to do. Once you do that, just hit save again. So now I have these individual disclaimers I can add to any work order at any time, and it'll be right on the invoice. So if I go open this up, and you won't see this even appear until you at least put one disclaimer in, okay, in the setup. So when I click here, see now I have all my different disclaimers. Maybe I want to throw this on here. Now I can type in anything I want. Wheels are falling off. Hit OK. Now that will be at the bottom of the ticket, right down here on the bottom left. When you actually print the invoice or email the invoice, it'll be between the total and the comments. Okay. Now, what if I put a disclaimer in here and maybe I want to change it up or do something different? I click on the drop down. I can remove it. And now I can go back and add it again and put in whatever I want. So the nice thing about a disclaimer, again, is the fact that you can use it on any individual work order, and you can type in whatever notes or information you want on that disclaimer. That's how disclaimers work.